Good morning to all. Wei Feng here from HarvestNet. Today, I'd like to thank you all for coming to the briefing, the training on navigating your IoT products for cross-border trade compliance. Okay, so let me share with you the presentation that we have for today. All right. So for those who are coming in, just scan on the password, picture barcode here and key in the HNATP password. Please let your friends know. All right, we'll start with the session. Firstly, I'd like to introduce a bit about myself. I'm Wei Feng, the CEO of HarvestNet. I have 22 years of corporate management. I was formerly from the Ericsson telecommunication, dealing with a lot of consumer telecommunication, consumer electronics, and also Sony, dealing a lot with like Marvel, Spidey, James Bond movies as for content and gamification. In my free time, I love to travel to Southeast Asia, even before the COVID especially, where I give trainings on solutions as well as what I call that certification, product certification, compliance in Southeast Asia, etc. All right, and if you've got spare time, I'll be in Japan and other countries attending some of these latest products and technology talks and events. Okay, so today, what will be the rationale for our talk? Because Internet of Things, the growth has accelerated due to three main reasons: Industry Revolution 4.0, the free trade pacts, as well as e-commerce that have boosted borderless trade. Asia Pacific spending on IoT alone is expected to reach 288 billion in 2021, according to IDC reports. Right, and a huge majority of these so-called IoT products in the range, short-range devices are uncertified in Southeast Asia. This is a prevalent problem, which I do know from my visits to like Thailand, Cambodia, Indonesia, and Vietnam. Okay, having that said, today's objective is to equip participants with knowledge and skills to undertake product certification scheme for your IoT products in the relevant cross-borders requirements. Okay. So what will be the learning outcomes today? At the end of this training, participants will be able to first identify the scope of product certification scheme requirements for Internet of Things products. Two, list the normative reference and requirements. Okay. So before I continue further, here's a little disclaimer. This training is intended to assist participants like you, employers, workers, as you strive to improve knowledge and skills on product certification scheme and legal framework. Well, of course, we attempt to thoroughly address these specific topics such as regulatory and technical standards. It is not possible to include discussion of everything necessary to ensure total competency, right? Therefore, I also like to highlight to you regulators over time will modify rules and interpretation in light of new technology, information, or circumstances. To keep apprised of such development or to review information, you should visit the regulatory websites for the correct and updated documents and materials. Okay, so we'll try our best to give you the awareness and knowledge. Okay, and if there's anything, please put into the chat for your queries. Okay, let's start. So what is Internet of Things? It is actually defined as a global infrastructure for the information society, enabling advanced services by interconnecting physical and virtual things. Therefore, you're looking at both hardware and software based on existing and evolving interoperable information and communication technologies, Here there will be the two important things will be data, okay, and how you carry the data over the bandwidth will be the communication technologies. And this is a recommendation by ITUT Y2060. So what is ITUT? ITUT is the International Telecommunication Union, and under the telecommunication standardization sector, okay, ITUT. And if you look, we are in Asia Pacific, right? So what will be the future of Asia Pacific in terms of IoT? Compared to the global of 1.7 trillion in 2019, okay, in Asia Pac, we are looking at 8.6 billion things are connected to each other, and 583 billion worth of estimated marketing opportunities. Okay, half a trillion marketing opportunities. Therefore, we hoped that you can discover more in today's talk. And one of the very important free trade agreement has been signed last year, 15th of November 2020. It's called the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, RCEP. Okay, in this FTA, there's 15 countries with 2.2 billion population and a combined GDP of 26 trillion and the share of almost 30% of global trade. Okay, these countries will be, of course, Malaysia and Southeast Asia, China, Japan, South Korea, as well as the Oceania, Australia, and New Zealand. With this, what can we expect in terms of products movement? If you look at the products movement, under the mutual recognition agreement, we call the MRA for products, regulatory bodies and permit issuance agencies, PIA, under the Chapter 6, Standards Technical Regulations Conformity Assessment, in the sense of harmonization and standardization, products which are certified in any country by the certification body or regulatory authority can cross borders without needing to repeat the similar testing and certification. For those who are importing products, I know you'll be familiar with testing. Of course, the testing have to go through test labs which are accredited with 17025, and also certification work, which is undergoing the accreditation certifying bodies with ISO IEC 17065. These are the processes which takes a lot of your time, right? So with the MRA, we believe this can shorten between like 1 to 2 months time for a number of products. Okay, so I'd like to do a little bit of feedback from you guys using the whiteboard. So share with us your product and information. Okay, go to view option, annotate, and write on the whiteboard. These are the few things I will require from you. Firstly, your product name. Okay, then the brand, the markets, and also whether this is comes with IoT in the sense of communication, such as Wi-Fi, as well as 3G, 4G, or 5G. Okay, so for those with phone, you can just press the annotate button. Okay, so this whiteboard sharing will be 2 minutes. Let me get to the whiteboard. Okay, as you can see, we have 2 minutes here. And for those who are familiar with the annotate one, you can just key in any of the information and share with us. We have 2 minutes. While that, I'll try to respond to some of the chats.
No, I am not getting my annotate function. I don't know.
Annotate function.
Yeah, it's not available now.
Okay, but you can see the whiteboard, right?
Yeah, can see. So can you repeat your question, please?
Will be your product name. Let's say if you have a product, especially on hardware, Okay, then the brand. So product name can be like iPhone 12. Brand can be Apple. Okay, markets can be like any of the Southeast Asian market as well as Asia Pac market. IoT will be looking at, if you're familiar, for those who are familiar with IoT, you involve like the communication for your data, radio communication. Basically, we'll be looking at 3G, 4G, 5G, or Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi, we can even elaborate further to be like Wi-Fi 6, or you can use the protocol 802.11ax AC, or you can put like Bluetooth for those with medical implants, or those you can put BLE, Bluetooth low energy. Okay, for those who are not familiar, we'll actually, you can ask me like on your certain products, whether or not these products what I call that consists of IoT. I can run a check for you after this. Okay.
Okay.
So since like those who can't annotate, probably you can just scribble, right? So with that, I can see that some may have like product name CPH1856. This basically is the model. All right, the brand is Oppo. The markets can be, because selected model, some they put here, the model is because it's for selected market due to the English language, okay, or the certain requirements, like Southeast Asia is more similar in terms of regulatory conditions or requirements for the box. Okay, this can be like Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines. And of course, this model CPH1856 is IoT and 4G Wi-Fi based. All right. So are we clear? So with that sharing, let's move on to the next presentation. All right. So these are the what is that news we usually see, like Myanmar. The ex-president was charged with illegal walkie-talkies. Here we have Vietnam, Korean arrested with 400 illegal phones, as well as nearer to us, Malaysia. MCMC warns certified Android TV box suppliers. They are TV box suppliers as in hardware, not to offer illegal streaming, because streaming is another under content regulation. Okay, it's not just the hardware. So you may wonder what will be the opportunities for IoT products if you are exploring to do the marketing, the sales in Southeast Asia or elsewhere. If we look at some of these categories, mobile wireless devices will be such as 4G, 5G, okay, mobile phones, PSTN, ADSL, as well as like those, what you call that, short range devices, Wi-Fi will be Internet of Things, security CCTVs, home appliances, including your fridge that can go to internet and pull a recipe for you, drones, medical implants, such as those with Bluetooth low energy devices, automotive, even your Audi or BMW or your X70, those killers go is considered an IoT device, industrial and scientific, as well as those electrical products, which comes the power bank, your adapters, power plugs, your batteries, which comes with the phone. They do require the compliance in terms of electrical safety. Okay. So you may ask, why is Wei Feng keep talking about product certification? Why is there such need? Of course, if you look at it, if you don't, first thing, you get stranded at the ports, because these are the regulatory requirements. And why regulatory authorities want this? For example, you'll be looking at safety issues. The phones can cause fire, electrical shock because of the cable, and some of your wireless IoT products will pose security issues, such as the hidden CCTV in the light bulb. So while you take bulb, there will be security issues, and your MPVs is always missing because of these scanners out there. So since you know there's a requirement for product certification, then what will be the process? The process is what we call conformity assessment. And conformity assessment itself involves a set of processes that show your product, service, or system meets the requirements of a standard. Okay, so that basically we are looking at the global standards as well as the technical standards. Okay, if you look into the legislative hierarchy, firstly, always when you go into any countries to export into that country, all right, please look into number one, the legal act. All right, like for IoT short range devices in Malaysia is covered by Communication and Multimedia Act 1998. Okay, then after the legal act will come the specific regulation, the set of regulations. For example, technical regulations for here will be the SR 2000. Okay, and number three, under the regulations, you'll be looking at the specific codes and standards, circulars or guidelines. All these are mandatory. All right. And then lastly, in terms of legal, we'll be looking at local rules, the SOP and manual. Local rules sometimes like different state in Malaysia or different provinces, they will adopt a different set of rules, especially for the buildings or the land titles. Okay, these are what we call the local rules. Okay. So in terms of the legal act, we normally refer, or we call a normative reference, to a set of legal act which comes up by the ministry and the regulatory bodies commission. For example, Vietnam, IoT will be looking at Ministry of Information and Communication, okay? And the commission which is handling it, okay, ensuring the laws are being followed, will be the Vietnam Telecommunication Authority. Here in Malaysia, we are looking at Kementerian Komunikasi dan Multimedia as the ministry, and the commission regulating it is MCMC. And here I have another one where it is Philippines. It's called Department of Transportation and Communication. Okay, they follow more of the US in terms of using department instead of ministry. And the commission is handling it will be National Telecommunication Commission. All right, so please go and understand this for the different countries you are entering. And in each of these law, you'll be specified, you define to you what it is meant by, for example, communication equipment. Here, it is stated communication equipment means any communications network facilities, your telco towers, BTS, base transmission station, or customer equipment, your handphones, etc., which may include fixed or wireless equipment. All right. So in fact, like if you see the Philippines one, they'll let you know that the certificates will be required for importers of these indoor equipment and devices that require wireless data network or Wi-Fi enabled Bluetooth medical devices. Okay. Next, further, if you look into Thailand, they will share with you what will be the conformity assessment procedures, being the technical standards, any of these processes. Then you have to go through the conformity assessment via the certification body before you go into the getting the approval. Once you demonstrate it, you get the approval and they give you a certificate. Most of the time it's called the certificate of conformity. And you need to do either self-labeling, as in most of the phones, because it comes with display. Then you can see the authority, regulatory bodies logo there. Or you can go to the, for example, in Thailand, you can go and buy physical label. Normally, these are what we call the security label or holographic security label issued by the Office of NBTC. Okay. Then the other thing will be if you look at the next we'll be looking at the class assignments. Okay, so when we talk about technical regulation, this is where you check what product are you in. Okay, for your product, it can be, for example, in Malaysia, there's 29 kind of classification. Mobile phone studies will be under classification 1. And for those IoT, or we call the short range communication devices, okay, it categorizes, this category includes the IoT, your Wi-Fi, you know, your Cisco router, That's under Schedule 2. There's a number of them where you can check. Okay. So like, for example, Singapore, they even have the, you can check out like what kind of application you require, what kind of form of registration you do require. And most of the time, each country, because of the countries have certain security requirement, they have special regulations or custom act, okay, for prohibition or exclusion act that states you do need special permit or AP if you are bringing such products. For example, here we have like scanning receivers, because if you can scan, you can detect and change certain things to receive military or secure information through those kind of prohibited bandwidth. All right, military communication equipment, okay, and telephone voice changing equipment or radio communication that can operate within the prohibited bands. And these bands, what we call excluded or prohibited bandwidth, because this will be used by our civil aviation or military. All right. And sometimes they have like jammers. People will have jammers. They buy in all those illegal jammers to jam during the meetings or those. It's actually illegal. You need a special license or special permit for it. Okay. So please understand that. Don't simply bring in things. Even for your own personal use, they can stop you at the airport or any of the ports. Okay. For technical standards, we'll be looking at more of the international ISO, IEC kind of standards or EN standards. Or for every local countries, they have their local MS, Malaysian standard, TS, Thailand standards, etc. Okay, and your Vietnam one. So we'll be looking at the radio frequency, because the radio frequency is the signal, or people you call it signal. Okay, the electromagnetic compatibility, the EMC, okay, which can cause disruption, distortion to your signals. The specific absorption rate, this is how much, like sometimes people call it the ionizing, whether it stays in your body or not. Okay, after that, the residual one. Okay, and you'll be looking at the safety information technology in the sense of your fire hazard, your injury hazard, okay, and electrical hazard, and of course interoperability. So for each of the countries, please check the legal documents for these details. You spell out very in detail what is it they are looking for, especially for established countries like Malaysia, Singapore, Vietnam, Thailand. Okay, we follow the set of rules what kind of recommended by the international bodies. Okay, to do all this work, technical standards, to make sure your product complies to, who will be the parties just now I actually mentioned. Under the test labs, you need to send them for testing. It's called ISO IEC 17025. I stress again, this will be the accredited labs that you need to send your products to. As well as after that, for the multiple tests you have done, a body have to, certifying body have to do the conformity assessment for these test reports. It's called ISO IEC 17065 accredited certifying bodies. Okay, and what will be the overall regulatory framework when a product comes in? Okay, we look at by three different phases. One is we call the pre-market phase. Under pre-market phase, before you can even import in or export out, you need to do conformity assessment. Okay, the certifying agency will do paper evaluation on all your test reports. Having done so, and you have successfully concluded that, usually it'll take about 2 weeks to a month or even longer. For like medical, recently I heard sometimes people takes about like 3 to 6 months. Okay, drugs will be worse. Okay, to get the certificate of conformity. After you have gotten so, your products, for example, Samsung 21, S21 have been approved, you need to go for market placement. Under market placement, to import in and put to your shops to sell in the retail market, you need to have the registration of your IMEI and serial number, because this is a requirement in order for you to have product markings. For example, if it's a Vietnam one, you probably will need to have the marking of ICT label. So all this needs to be registered. Okay, then with the label, you can put on a digital display in your phone where you check regulatory information is there or is on the box, right? And when the government have registered this for you in their database, you are good to go for the import permit under customs. This will be separate. This will be under customs because customs are the gatekeeper of the borders, right? Being your ports as well as your airports, okay, or your train. So after you have done the shipment clearance, that will be post-market. So we'll be doing like certifying agencies will be doing surveillance. Okay, and for medical devices, probably they'll be looking at surveillance and vigilance. Vigilance such as probably when we're doing vaccination, your COVID-19 vaccination, if there's issues on blood clot or any other what I got serious threat to public, then you have to report back to the authority. Okay, so that's for post-market. Okay, and when you say, okay, I've sent this product for testing by these labs, so what will they be giving me in the end? Is it going to be a result? In what form? This is how it looks like, right? Test reports, you can see very clearly that this is for safety of ITE products. And it's stated here, you can check, the fine print is IEC 60950. Okay, this one, this is the one. Okay, and you look, there will be the test lab's name here. And if it's for Wi-Fi or this, you can see that this is for Watt EN standards at CEN 30328. Okay, so it's stated here. And this will be the labs that is actually doing it. So how do you find these labs online? Right, easily, you just key in test labs 17025 and the necessary test you want to do. As for IoT, you can see that you have electromagnetic. So this company, PTech in Thailand, they are doing it. They are also doing telecommunication testing, which is the RF, also product safety testing and energy testing. That's will be looking at the ITE safety. And they actually declare that they have this quality management under ISO IEC 17025. 25 will be for the test labs. Okay. And they have gotten this from the TC, Thai Industrial Standards Institute, for the accreditation. In Malaysia, we call it Department of Standards Malaysia under MITI. Okay, our Ministry of International Trade and Industry. There's a department called DSM. They are the one who give accreditation. Okay. So for certifying body, all your lab tests done. Now you need to go to, for example, you want to go Vietnam. You look for Vietnam, which is the certifying body. Theirs is called QASCET, Vietnam Certification Center, QASCET. All right. So you can look at the number of services they provide, as well as especially those mandatory one. We do know that they are doing a lot on like toys, garments, consumer products, and food safety. Okay, as well as VIET GAP. GAP is Good Agriculture Practices. Those are for mostly livestock and crops and the way how you manage the agriculture, okay, in that country. So after you have done those, everything, please remember to go for your CE marking under the certifying body, because you need to have this marking. For here, I have given you a few examples of different markings like this Japan. This is how Thailand one looks like. Okay, and if you see here a local Malaysian one, we have the MCMC logo here. Okay, so when you go online, check all these products, you can ask them whether they have the certification marking for certified products. Okay. And one of the last stage will be coming to customs, because you want to import and export. You need a permit. Even for your cars, it's a bit special. It's called AP, approved permit. It's a special permit. But for the rest of products, okay, you can do a quick check at this federal government gazette. It's a 900 over pages or more document, and just a quick information. look into 8517, this category, where it spells out all these products for wireless communication. Okay, you check there's a different one. Then you'll be looking at what kind of classification, especially for the tariff. Then it means what kind of tax duty. Okay. So I've done a summary on the overview of IoT products, the cross-border trade compliance requirement. We have actually seen and gone through the legislative and regulatory framework. And lastly, the product certification scheme and the technical requirements that encompasses. Therefore, I'd like to check with you on the understanding. Okay, so for those who have the device, please get your phone ready, log into kahoot.it, okay, to join us for a quick what do you call that? A quick game. Okay, go to kahoot.it. Let's say you are on a mobile phone. Okay, go to kahoot.it. Okay, and if possible, I'll start this game pin. You remember is 7068387. Okay, let me go to the Kahoot. Okay, I'll start the game. Right. So for those who are in, just key in 7068387. Press go. All right, so we have a challenge, two challenger here. So can we start? Okay, I probably go by the who's the fastest, okay? Right, IoT technical standards. Ready, go. Below are the main technical standards for communication devices except for we have like IT safety, electromagnetic, atomic energy, radio frequency. Which one is we do not need? Okay, so there's two correct answers. Yes, right. Atomic energy basically for like radio isotopes, all those kind of things. Mainly we'll see those in medical devices under their requirement. Okay, but for mobile phone, we don't use radioactive ingredient, therefore, or substances. Therefore, we do not need this. Okay, congratulations, Hadia. Okay, you got it correct, as well as Iron Man. Okay, let me conclude this presentation today. Now you have seen, have gone through together with me for the past about 1 hour. You know that it is very important to ensure IoT products fulfill requirements for cross-border trade compliances. If not, therefore you have problems. Then you come running to me. Wei Feng, can you help me solve this problem? No, I have products stuck in Indonesia, stuck in Vietnam, or those. Okay, so I hope that in with our awareness and knowledge training today, you get more insights. But of course, for those who are more keen, okay, this is today's module is one of our masterclass program for the industries to strategize your business for IoT era, especially in the terms of the what do you call that, compliance. Right, so we have a number of programs under here. Under program one, actually, we do give a 2 days talk on navigation, navigating the IoT products for cross-border trade. Will be a long version. Today's one is a brief version. Okay, and also the what do you call that, the module 2 for the second half day, we'll be looking at the Southeast Asia legal overview. We'll teach you and go through with you, like let's say Vietnam, Singapore, Thailand, what kind of legal information that is available. As well as we have other programs such as for those who are more technically inclined, the engineers or this, you will want to know like in terms of the logistics as well as sales, marketing, you want to get more information on the classification because your products, you want to know how to classify it. Is it going to be a mobile phone, broadband, wireless access, short range devices, IoT, your industrial? This is booming now, right now. I just attended one training in this course is about 60-70 people paying to attend this industrial scientific medical information. All right, medical implants, RFID, CCTV, wireless microphone. All right, my wireless microphone is related to us because we are using a lot for training, right? So these are the categories. Don't get your product stuck. Like one of my friends, he got his product wireless Bluetooth speaker stuck at the customs. Need to clear it because he doesn't know. He's not aware of such classification and technical requirement. Okay, and of course, we also on the program 2 will be giving like the overview on technical standards. That's more of just now we have played the quiz on the radio frequency, EMC, SAR. You may want to know more, so we'll give you a training on that. And of course, I wonder another program 3 we'll be looking at the growth strategies, how to explore like your sales channels, your e-commerce channels, all those. So I hope that my company, we can provide more insights in this. So please, if you are free and you feel like taking this up to upskill yourself for yourself or your company, please talk to us today. We are reachable via harvestnet@upsize.com. Our contact number, you have my contact number here. You can reach out easily to me. Okay, with that, anything else? Since Anita just joined us, so anything else? If not, we can carry out more of this Q&A, FAQs over the the group. If you can reach me, I will actually set up a group. Okay, just let me know. This is from this training. Okay, and I'll more than pleased to answer to all your queries or your anything you would like to know. Okay, with that, thank you so much for today's session with you all. Okay, happy weekend, and I'll see you soon. Okay, all right.
Wait, son, I have a question.
I have a question. Sorry, let me go back. Yeah.
How often do you run this program?